punctual person on planet Earth.
Of course.
Yes.
On time, I'm early.
So in walks Bud, late, right?
Well, and sort of backtracking from there, before then, I'm assigned to this guy. So I get the name, Barack Obama, and of course I start developing this image in my head of what I think a Barack Obama from Hawaii, a black guy from Hawaii. So I'm already like, And then of course all the partners are like, he's very intelligent. Oh, smoothie smooth, there he is. He has had that shirt. He's got like 5 shirts still, and yes, that's one of them. But everybody was all a frenzy over him too, you know. And you know how it is, sorry white folks, but when white folks are all buzzing about a black man, and you think, he probably just can talk straight. And they're all like, oh, he's great. He's so wonderful. And I'm like, it's the same thing. It's like a brother who can talk. He's brilliant. So I was like, let me be the judge of this. Y'all just settle down.
She was already
So I have it in my mind what Barack Obama from Hawaii looks like, and he doesn't look like that. So I'm picturing this nerdy little guy with a pocket protector who's going to be like, hi, my name is Barack Obama. That was the picture I had in my head. But I had to call him and introduce myself to sort of set up the summer. So I call and I'm like, hello, it's Michelle Robinson. And he's like, hello, it's Barack Obama. He had that voice.
Yeah.
So he's always had his Barack Obama voice, and I was sort of like, ooh. Not what I expected. That was my inside voice. Yeah, I was like this on the phone. But I stayed professional. I was like, yes, and so we're going to meet at this time, and so on and so forth. But I'm still sort of like, you know, nerdy guys can have nice voices too, so I still didn't have a real picture. And then he showed up late, so I'm a little irritated. No, I'm a lot irritated. I have talked about him to my secretary like a dog. I was like, leave it to the brother to be late, you know? So I come out, I'm a little hot, and then he gets up in his sort of smooth way, and there he is. I'm like, oh. Because he was tall, and, you know, he still had that walk. So he just walked behind me, you know. He was late, but he wasn't, like, hurried. He was still sort of like, oh, yeah, man, I'm so sorry. So I was kind of, like, impressed that he was that smooth, even though he was late, you know? He wasn't like all frantic, but because he was my advisee, I was like, yeah, no, we're not dating, because he asked me out probably a month in, and I was like, dude, that would be so tacky. The 2 black people from Harvard, you know? I was like, that's just what they're waiting for. It's like, you guys love each other, don't you? You're black, he's black, this would be great. I was not gonna fall into that stereotype. Yeah, no, don't just put me in that box. But he was to the point where he's like, well, you know, who cares what these people think? He's like, well, if it's that big a deal, I'll quit. And I was sort of like, oh, you would? You would walk away from your little summer job to date me?
And you also write, because this, you know, this is also about what you call the swerve, which we're going to talk about in a minute.
Oh, he was all swerve. I was
by which we mean.
Oh yeah, the swerve. I write about the swerve. It's like the swerve. Well, I refer to the swerve in the book. It's like stepping outside of your comfort zone. It's another way of saying what I wasn't doing with my life was taking any chances. I was going the straight and narrow path. I wasn't curious enough about life. I wasn't introspective, and I liked comfort, and it all made sense. You know, here I was, a kid from the south side of Chicago on financial aid. Nothing I had done, there was no path in my family for it. You know, I came out of school with so much debt. So it absolutely made sense to think, yeah, there's a path that you're on. But Barack was, I write about him, I call him a unicorn, because I had never met a black dude like Barack Obama who was not only his background and how where he had traveled and who his parents were, and he was always very introspective, and he had been a community organizer. I'm like, whoa, what? I hadn't met a Harvard black dude who had been a community organizer in neighborhoods on the far south side where most people in the firm didn't know those neighborhoods. He had been all up in those neighborhoods, in those churches. I mean, so he understood the community in a full way. But he wasn't arrogant, he was humble. I also liked the way he treated others. And ladies, let me tell you, okay, because all the credentialing, that's okay, right? But what impressed me was how he treated the secretaries and the paralegals and the people on the elevator. As I got to know him, I saw how he treated his sister, how he respected the strength of his mother, his relationship with his grandmother. You know, all of that was much more appealing to me than his walk or his look or his talk or his degrees. And sometimes we as women miss out on good brothers because we are too busy looking at the stats and we're not looking at their story. And Barack Obama's story, his whole story, was all swervy and interesting, and you know, and that's what I fell in love with.
Well, and you write, and I just want to read this beautiful sentence. You say, you wrote this.
Okay.
I'm going to read it. As soon as I allowed myself to feel anything for Barack, the feelings came rushing. A toppling blast of lust, gratitude, fulfillment, wonder.
All that.
All that. Any worries I've been harboring about my life and career, and even about Barack himself, seemed to fall away with that first kiss, replaced by a driving need to know him better, to explore and experience everything about him as fast as I could. And so I read that so we can enjoy just that you shared with us the rapture of letting yourself go over the waterfall in a barrel.
Isn't that how we do it, ladies?
That's how we do it. That's right. That's right. Oh, that's right.
Never before have
Never before.
I wanted to know so much about one person. And the other thing about Barack, okay, fellas, he wasn't playing games, you know? That was another appealing thing. You know the brothers who are like, yeah, I want to date you. Let's figure this out, and I'm not sure how I feel, and
Yeah.
I'd done that, you know. Barack was like, I'm interested in you. I want to see where this goes. I want to be serious about this. And he took the relationship to the next level. Clear, focused, unapologetic, not worrying about looking too in love. He was ready to be in love. And brothers, dudes out there, that is so appealing. That is one of the most appealing things of having a man who is unafraid to commit to not marriage, but just to you.
Hey, come
right?
on now.
Just to exploring what this will be, not calling it anything other than what it is, which is a relationship. And he embraced the relationship part of it. So we both fell. But I also had to make sure I write about needing to anchor myself, because when you meet somebody whose vision and passions and dreams are so powerful, what I was worried about was how easy I could see being swept up in his path and his journey. And I didn't want to do that. I mean, I loved him and I was impressed by him and I was intrigued by him, but I knew I had to figure myself out in a real serious way, because I didn't want to be an appendage to his dreams. I needed to have my own dreams and my own vision of who I wanted to be with a man that strong. So he forced me to think about myself and think about my path in a way that I probably wouldn't had I not met him.
And I think that, you know what, a conversation that is really growing around this book that I think is very powerful, and we hear it with a lot of the young women who we work with, so I call this the dating handbook portion of the evening, is that you are talking about what we wish for from men, and also you are saying to women and to all of us, respect yourself.
Yeah.
Respect yourself.
Well,
And
and you have to be a whole person yourself.
That's it.
You know, and you continue to complete yourself in a relationship. But for me, I felt that doing the work of knowing who I was and what I wanted and what I cared about and how I wanted my voice to be reflected in the world, I hadn't completely figured it out, but doing that work helped me in my relationship with him. And that's part of what the marriage counseling part helped me with too. I know we talk about that's something that people are like, oh, why she talked about marriage counseling? I'm like, duh, you know, marriage is hard, you know, it is hard.
And you use the word, you say even a happy marriage can be a vexation. You say in this book.
It is hard. and I love my husband, and we have a great marriage, and we've had a great marriage, but a marriage is hard work. And I share that because I see too many young people who frivolously enter into marriage, you know, not really thinking, they think the love and the courtship part has something to do with what marriage is. And it doesn't. It's a little bitty part of it, you gotta have that in there, but marriage is a lot of work, and it should be. It's two independent individuals who are trying to come together to build a life forever. If you just sort of say that, you go, that's hard. But people rush into it. You know, people are like, I love him, we in love. And it's like, but do you know him and do you know yourself? Because if you don't, then when the bumps come, and they will, and the first bumps come in an unexpected way, they come when you do have children.